Let's welcome on our buddy from CHGO Cubs, Cody Delmendo. Happy Friday the 13th, Cody. You're always rocking some great Christmas gear. I love it because it is the holiday season, Tyler. We're not starting it. It started. But this holiday season, I feel like you guys have been getting lots of gifts of exciting updates, rumors, and some things to talk about that optimistically could happen for the Cubs. Now, obviously, we have you here for a reason, Cody. It's because of the Kyle Tucker talks for the Cubs and the fact that the Cubs have been asked for Seiya Suzuki. They've been asked for Cam Smith. They've been asked for Isaac Paredes, a prospect. What's the latest that you know of about the Astros Cubs possible deal that's being worked out? Because it feels like we're on the brink of it breaking and getting solidified, but it also doesn't feel like they're that. I don't know how close they are realistically to a deal.
Yeah. Well, first off, Tyler, when you were reading the HelloFresh ad, I was thinking the same thing because I've just been so invested to refreshing Twitter over the last 4 days that HelloFresh really would have helped me out. Yeah, it's very helpful. Yeah, so Bruce Levine, who's a reporter here in Chicago, he tweeted today that this potential trade for Kyle Tucker could involve Isaac Paredes and the Cubs' first-round pick from this past year's draft, Cam Smith, a third baseman out of Florida State. And both those guys have been kind of part of the rumor for the last week. And honestly, like, I was just in here with you guys like a week ago. We were talking about Seiya Suzuki coming to the Phillies potentially, and I didn't think that Seiya Suzuki was really on the trade market. I didn't take it seriously at all. And then at the winter meetings, his name was thrown out there a bunch. His agent said a bunch of stuff that I don't really know if I should take it seriously or not. And if you guys want to get into that, we can. But as far as this Kyle Tucker trade, yeah, I think it's going to happen today. I think it's going to happen today. Last night there was a reporter out of Houston that said that it should happen within the next 48 hours. Like sometime yesterday, he tweeted that. So I think it happens today, and it's a 1 year. It's technically a 1 year rental. The Cubs don't have a history of giving out massive contracts, and I think that's why a lot of Cubs fans have a lot of anxiety, is the best way I would put towards it, or concern into a trade like this. Because if you're trading one of your top 100 prospects, which Cam Smith is, for 1 year Kyle Tucker, and you're also sending your third baseman Paredes, who has multiple years of control, and he's cheap, he's not expensive. You just traded for him at the trade deadline last season. If you're trading both of that for 1 year of Kyle Tucker, I can understand the concern from that, from a Cubs fan perspective. I will say, though, that considering all the rumors that have come out related to this, the fact that I never thought that the Cubs would send Seiya Suzuki, Cam Smith. I never thought they would send Seiya Suzuki and Matt Shaw in a deal like this. I really didn't think that they would even budge on sending Cam Smith. And I absolutely didn't think they would budge on sending Matt Shaw. But maybe this is the compromise. Maybe the Cubs will throw in another one of their major league arms, kind of like that are kind of like in that swingman role for them, guys who come out of the bullpen and can start for them, like a Jordan Wicks or a Javier Assad or Ben Brown or Hayden Wesneski. And I think one of those 4 names could potentially be added to this trade. As I wouldn't call it a throw-in, because I think those guys have solid upside and can be valuable for any major league team. But yeah, I never thought the Cubs would really include Seiya Suzuki or Matt Shaw into this. So Cam Smith, a couple years away. We'll see if it happens. I will say, I saw you guys quote tweet this earlier. The fact that the Phillies offered Castellanos and Alec Boehm for Tucker, I am surprised the Astros were not interested in that. I really am, just because it seems like they want to stay competitive. Those guys are a lot more proven and experienced than this deal that the Cubs are offering.
So, Cody, the last time you talked to us, you said, can you have Kyle Schwarber back? So you brought up Ben Brown. Before I get to the question, I'll give you David Robertson back if we can have Ben Brown back, because that was one of the poorer trades the Phillies have made over the last couple of years. But to me, it's I was looking at the deal and the names involved from the Cubs side and the Astros side, and I kind of nerded out over Isaac Paredes, because I've been a big Isaac Paredes fan for a while now. And I know numerically speaking, he had a little bit of a dip last year. It feels to me if he's in the deal and it is Cam Smith or it is whatever the other outlier pieces, I shouldn't say outlier pieces, but the other pieces are, this feels to me like it could be a win-win move for both clubs because Kyle Tucker provides instantaneous, immediate offense for the Cubs. They don't have to move Matt Shaw, and you seem pretty high on Matt Shaw playing third base. And I looked at Isaac Paredes' home runs last year, and I don't think I've ever seen a player hook the foul pole more in my life. He might kill it with the Crawford boxes in Houston. Does it feel to you like this could be one of those moves that it could potentially turn out to be a win-win for both clubs?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it would be a win-win for sure if the Cubs can find a way to keep Tucker long term. I've read online that his agency like Jed Hoyer has like a good relationship with that agency that he is under. Maybe like everyone thinks that he's going to go to free agency next winter, and I would lean to that. I would bet that, right? But who knows? Maybe things change the moment the trade happens. And also, like when his agent goes out and says that he's going to free agency next season, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's fact, considering they don't want to give away leverage. You know what I mean? So, in these trade talks. So I don't know. I would I lean that it happens in season or before the season? No, I definitely think that they'll go to free agency next winter, and I'll be refreshing Twitter like I am today, and in hopes to seeing a breaking news: Cubs re-sign Kyle Tucker to 10 plus year deal, $300 to $400 million is what I would guess it will be, and he's coming off a 5 to 7 WAR season, somewhere in that range, hopefully, and he's an all-star, and then he helps the Cubs get in the playoffs next year, and all the things that I've been dreaming about that if they get this deal done. But yeah, no, I think the Astros could really. Even with this deal, I like this deal more so than some of the other ones that have been thrown out there. As much as I like Cam Smith, it's not like he's going to be with the Astros next year. It's definitely, you got to see his minor league career has barely even begun. He had a home run streak in the minors last year. I think that's why a lot of Cubs fans like him, a home run streak in terms of home runs in a certain amount of games. I can't remember how many exactly it was, but he kind of burst on the scene the moment he was drafted and was put into the minors. But as you guys probably know, prospects are prospects. You never know how they're going to pan out. But he has a high ceiling, I think. And like that's why I've kind of been hugging him a little bit. But I also know the Cubs they're not far away from being a real competitive team, at least be able to win their division. And Kyle Tucker certainly makes that it could make that a reality, especially in the division that they're in. So, yeah, what you're talking about with Paredes, that's something too. Like, I can't believe Paredes actually, like a team out there really wants Paredes, but I understand why the Astros could, just because I think his spray chart certainly benefits to the ballpark they play in. And that was a big concern of not only me, but other fans for the Cubs whenever they made that trade for Paredes last year at the trade deadline. So, and in many ways, the fans were kind of right because his offense really wasn't there at home in the second half of the season. His home and away splits, it was night and day, honestly. So, yeah, if this plays out like with those two, I certainly do think it could be a win-win.